Six Nations 2021 Team of the Tournament. Bit of fun, this video. First and foremost, folks, picking 15 guys from what was a very memorable 2021 Six Nations. My 15, or 23 in this case, because I have picked a bench. But yeah, bit of fun. I've gone through, had a look at their stats. Mostly it's based on gut feel. A few guys I have changed around based on the stats. Obviously, there's a lot of Welshmen. There's a substantial section of Irish, French, and Scots. For the English contribution, it's a lot less, and the Italian one, probably don't hold your breath, but that's just the nature of the game, right? The teams that win, you tend to pick more of their players. That's just kind of the way it is. But yeah, I'll go through my 15 guys, kind of talk about why I picked each one. I won't go through the full stats rundown, but yeah, you guys can let me know your thoughts. It's definitely not the right 15. May not be the best 15, but it's my 15. So if you've got yours, feel free to leave it in the comments. I love reading everyone else's 15 and the reasons why you pick the guys. There's always some really good insights out there as well. Number one, loose head prop, Wyn Jones. Wyn Jones. Good scrummager, which is the key reason you pick any prop, but also very, very useful around the park. Apparently people like smashing him in the face. That's just by the by, but yeah, man, Wyn Jones is going to be on Gatz's radar for the Lions tour for sure. For the scrummaging, he does concede a wee bit in terms of penalties, but not a horrendous amount that's kind of makes him not pickable. And his work around the park is just phenomenal. I think he's got more run meters than any other prop, which is not why you pick any prop, but you got to go and take that stuff into account as well. Work rate's huge, scrummaging's good, and yeah, very, very busy player. Tight head, I've gone with Tadhg Furlong. Kind of no surprises there. He didn't play as many minutes as a lot of the other guys, but he still finishes like third from run meters in terms of props, which again is not why you pick any prop. His scrummaging was phenomenal. He did a bit of a job on Michael Vunipola when they played England, who's, you know, no easy beat. But man, he is just such a unit. He's got like 5 broken tackles, which is the most of any prop. Like, he is just an absolute beast of a man. So I don't know how you could not pick him. People may pick other players. Again, it's just one man's opinion. 24 tackles, a dominant tackle, averages 4.5 meters per carry. I'm trying not to go into all the stats, but they do make good reading. Tadhg Furlong, he's my tight head. Hooker, I've gone with a Frenchman, Julian. He was quite the contributor to what was an ultimately unsuccessful French campaign, but was still you know, one where they finished with a positive record. I think the line-out operated at about 89%, which is pretty good. The Irish did give the French a bit of trouble at line-out time, but the Irish dominated kind of that facet of the game just generally in terms of their defensive line-out operations. He was a nuisance at the breakdown. I think he has more turnovers than any other hooker in the competition. His tackle rates, I think, second only to Ken Owens. And not by much. He has like fewer missed tackles and more dominant tackles than the Sheriff, but both very good. But in this case, I've gone with our man Marchand. He was, yeah, man, also everywhere. So that's the front row: a Welshman, a Frenchman, and an Irishman. 1, 2, and 3. Locks, I have gone with Tadhg Beirne. I've stuck him in there at lock rather than sticking him in the loose forwards because I've got other people to think of. The loose forwards are always the most competitive, but in terms of locks, Tadhg Beirne, you cannot surely at this point doubt this guy's credentials as a world-class player, man. More turnovers won than anybody else in the competition. That's both on the ground and at line-out time. He has 10 for the competition. The next best is 6. Just let that kind of sink in terms of how above everybody else he was with that facet of his game. I mean, he's still got really nice stats with all the other reading, like 38 out of 40 tackles, beats 4 tackles, runs 215 meters, 51 carries. Like, he's bloody everywhere, man. He gets man of the match. Was it once or twice? Yeah, man. Tadhg Beirne. Tadhg Beirne. More Tadhg Beirne, please. Alongside him, I've gone with another Welshman to partner him. So Welshman and an Irishman in the second row. It is Wyn Jones. He's a guy that still cops a lot of criticism. I'm not sure if it's just by certain fan bases, but despite his age, man, you can't deny the guy's performance levels. He's got more tackles than any other lock in the competition. Doesn't matter how old he is, right? Just take the age away from it. Just look at the guy's performance. He's not doing much at line-out time. They kind of leave that to Baird. Tipperick does a fair bit of jumping. But, man, more tackles. I think he's second only to Henderson in terms of run meters for locks. So, the guy gets around the park. I don't know why the age is a factor when you just look at his performances. I think he's second only to Willemse in terms of dominant tackles. He has like 5. Yeah, 75 out of 79 tackles, 5 dominant tackles, wins 2 turnovers. 121 run meters, man. The guy is still going strong. Wouldn't be surprised if he makes captain for the Lions as well, but that's a conversation for another day. Number 6, I have gone with Josh Navidi. Now, he also, like Tyke Furlong, played like less than 300 minutes. Like, he played 295 minutes. So it's hard when you got some guys who play like 400 minutes. You know, they play every minute of every game. But his contributions you still can't deny, man. He's got a heap of tackles. He's got a heap of passes. I think he finishes with like 2 try assists, and he's a blindside flanker. He gets a try of his own. Just his involvements, his link-up play with the Welsh team, he gets involved into everything, whether it's on defence or whether it's on attack. He's just a coach's dream because he can do a bit of everything. It's great to see him fit. He's not suffering concussion. 5 dominant tackles. Great player. Absolutely great player. Very, very happy to see him back and yeah, operating at a really high level. Speaking of operating at a high level, one of my favourite players and another guy who gets bagged. I'm not sure if it's, again, just certain fan bases, but surely people will give this guy some credit now. Hamish Watson. Man, he's another guy who... I don't know how many Weetabix he has for breakfast, but you need to have some like him if you want to get your work rate up, man. 386 minutes, so he plays a lot of minutes. He has the most turnovers of anybody else who plays 7, or I think Olivon had the equal amount to him. He has the most broken tackles of any forward in the Six Nations. More. And people say he's too small. No. Doesn't matter. Look at Ardie Savia. He's not the biggest number 8 in the world. Don't mean to get all Southern Hemisphere on you, but man, he only misses 1 tackle in the entire competition. I think Opta had him with 0. Six Nations stats AWS give him 1 missed tackle. He makes like 40, is it 40 or 50? 55? And has like 5 dominant tackles. The guy is just a cannonball. Just throws himself into everything. I'm a big fan. I am a big fan. Number 8, I changed my mind from my gut feel to the stats man. And that was just having a look. I initially had Tulupe Faletau and I switched it to Gregory ALLDRITT. Very similar performance levels from both the guys. But ALLDRITT just edged kind of every key area you're looking at except for tackles made. ALLDRITT has the most broken tackles of any number 8. He's number 2 for tackles made by a number 8. He's only behind Faletau. He has the most dominant tackles of any number 8. He's the 7th overall for run meters. Forget just number 8s. He's the number 1 number 8. But, man, the guy was, again, phenomenal, man. Like, he's not, him and Faletau are like really much of a muchness. There's not much between either of them. And maybe that yellow card to Faletau in that final game where Wales lose it at the death, maybe that's like one where you could see maybe that's a little bit of a tipping point, but not much between them, man. But ALLDRITT, good player. Good player. The French have got heaps of options at loose forward as well. But yeah, that essentially makes out the 4-pack. So what do we have? We got a Welshman, a Frenchman, and an Irishman front row, Irish and Welsh second row, and a Welsh, Scottish, and French back row. So a proper mix, I think. But yeah, good start. Into the backs, there's only really one choice with number 9, man. You can't go past DuPont. His stats are just stupidly good, and just watching the game, even a casual observer would go, that guy's pretty good. Surely. I mean, he's got the most try assists, the most offloads, the most broken tackles of any number 9. He's got, I think he's the first, is he first overall, first equal for turnovers in the tackle. He loves to strip. He misses a few tackles because he likes to shoot out of the line and just cause havoc. But, man, the guy just does a bit of everything. It's just crazy. Yeah, man, it's broken tackles. He's got like a 34% chance of breaking a tackle when he goes into contact if you're dividing broken tackles by the number of his carries. But, yeah, dominant tackles as well. He's got 3, which is more than some of the Fords have got. DuPont is at another level. He's crazy. Number 10 is maybe going to be the most controversial pick of mine overall. But I've gone with a Welshman in Dan Biggar. The other guys you're kind of looking at, I mean, Sexton had a pretty good tournament, I think, overall. He was a guy who's written, well, he's given a big don't argue to a lot of his critics. Finn Russell, I think, you know, did a lot of good things in that tournament. And Jalibert from France was a bit of a revelation as well. But I've managed to sneak in Dan Biggar. Now, it's unfortunate for Dan because the way Pivac plays him, he doesn't often get the glory at the end because Sheedy comes on and gets the glory. But I still think you have to give Biggar a wee bit of credit for setting things up. He gets a try. Not many of the fly halves scored tries, but he got one. I think Russell got one as well. He's got 2 try assists, which is the first equal with any of the fly halves. I think Jalibert also has 2. He's got the most tackles of any fly half. And I think he's got a way better tackle. Well, maybe it's not way better, but a better tackling percentage than any of the guys like Jalibert, like Finn Russell. I'm not sure about Sexton. I can't remember if I checked Sexton's numbers. But, yeah. He's maybe not as like a sexy pick like in terms of like your Sheedies or your Jalibert or Finn Russell in terms of the offensive prowess. But the stats are still there. He's still good. But I think all-round package, Dan Biggar's worth a shout. Tell me I'm wrong. Go on. That's fine. But I've gone with Dan the man. Surely he'll be on the Lions tour as well. Number 12. I've gone back to a Frenchman. I've gone with GAEL FICKOU. Pretty good tournament from him. I know he didn't play exclusively at 12. He also played on the wing. But he was really impressive, man. I think he's got less run meters than the likes of a Henshaw, but he's got like a higher rate of meterage per carry, if you know what I mean. Like he averages 7.8 run meters per carry, which, like to put that into context, the props were like in the 4s, the locks were in the 3s, and the loosies were in 4 or 5. DuPont was like 6. So for him to be almost 8 is a lot of meterage. He's such a dangerous player, and he's got the most tackles of any back. He just tackles like a demon. And it's not something you think of, especially when you think of FICKOU. 51 tackles, 51 tackles. Huge numbers. That's more than Marchand. That's more than Wyn Jones. That's more than Tyg Furlong. It's more than Tyg BEIRNE. He made a heap of tackles. No doubting his performances. Now, what's that meant is, because I've picked FICKOU at 12, I've also picked at 12, but he played one game at 13. I've picked Henshaw at 13, because you can't deny Henshaw as well. I think both of these guys were outstanding in the midfield for their respective countries. He's got the most run meters of any of the guys who played 12. I can't remember if there was a 13 who had higher than him. But man, like Henshaw was just everywhere. I like guys with high work rates. What can you say? You can just see them. Their involvements in the game are huge. Like they're visibly noticeable. You can't not see them. Just, whoa, that's Henshaw again making that tackle. Henshaw's carrying it again. So he's got the 4th carries overall. I think CJ Stander is like number 1. I can't remember who was 2 and 3, but he's 4th overall. The number 1 back. So, man, Henshaw was everywhere. 8 broken tackles, 39 out of 46 tackles, 2 dominant tackles, 2 turnovers, 1 strip in the tackle, 318 run meters, 65 carries. The guy was proper unit. Now, speaking of proper units, On the left wing, I've put the big Scottish flyer, Duhan van der Merwe. Now, his numbers just make for stupid reading. Like, they're so much higher than everybody else. It just seems unbelievable. So he has 44 carries and breaks 32 tackles. Now, sometimes that's going to be he breaks multiple tackles in one carry. But if you just keep it simple and, like, you know, compare the carries to the broken tackles, that's like a 70. If it's 1-to-1, it's like 73% chance of breaking a tackle. Like, the next best one on my list of all these players that I've picked in this 15 is 47%. So 73 is just bananas. Honest to goodness. He's got 5 tries, which is first overall in the competition. He's second for run meters. Like, his dominant tackle rate is also really high. I guess because he's just such a big dude, man. When he tackles you into next week. But yeah, Duhan van der Merwe. Proper ball carrier on that left wing. And he's quick as well. Speaking of quick, I've put REES-ZAMMIT on the other wing. How could I not, man? Now, his numbers, when you're looking at the number of meters he gets per carry he makes, are also phenomenal. I guess because he gets a couple of long-range efforts, but 27 carries, 351 run meters, so he's getting 13 meters per carry. The next best on my list is Duhan with almost 11, so like FICKOU's at 7.8, I mentioned that being good. REES-ZAMMIT's at 13. He's a phenomenal athlete, and he's such a young man as well. I don't know what else to say, man. He's quick as lightning. He's got a good read for the game. He can spot an intercept coming a mile away. 4 tries, 2 try assists. I think he's third overall for try assists. 27 carries, like I mentioned. Breaks 6 tackles, which is nothing compared to Duhan's 32. But still, proper flyer. Proper flyer. And for fullback, I have gone with Stuart Hogg. He was really mature. Captain's knock for him and his performances for Scotland in this Six Nations. They'll look back a little bit with what might have been, because they got those 2 great away wins, but a couple of disappointing home losses. His kicking was really on song. He can really put his leather through that leather on that ball, man. He's got a proper big boot on him, and it's accurate as well. He also gets 2 try assists, has 440 run meters. He breaks 20 tackles, so he's second overall behind your man Duhan. 13 from 15 tackles is a phenomenal effort from a fullback. He gets a dominant tackle amongst that as well. 2 tries. The guy's involved in just everything. He was proper class. The bench. For the bench, I have managed to fit in a few players. I have gone with Vahith from France. He was immense. I won't go over all his numbers, but he was very good. Sinclair is your English representative if you're looking for one. I think he's probably the second best tight head. I do like Xander Ferguson, but his penalty count was also pretty high. The Sheriff is your backup hooker. Yeah, had a bit of an eye for the try line this tournament, and also really good numbers defensively. Henderson from Ireland, very unlucky not to get into the starting lineup, to be fair. Olivon, the loose forward from France. I think he had a stupid number of line-out takes. It's unbelievable how athletic he is. Conor Murray, I think, showed some pretty good form to get back into the swing of things. As well, showed some kind of previous good form, but it's really hard when you compare him with DuPont. Jalibert was neck and neck between him and BIGGAR. Maybe the edge there is that Wales won the tournament, maybe, not so sure. And other one, you go George North, very capable in the midfield, and also showed that, you know, he's got what it takes to still play on the wing if you need to, because he's got that proper gas. But yeah, that's my 23. Goodness me, I'm almost 20 minutes into the video. As I said, it's just my picks. They'll be different from everybody else's, but there'll certainly be a core that's probably the same, because of, you know, some of those guys who seem like kind of obvious choices. Maybe some of them are a bit more neck and neck. I did take the time, and I'll apologize to Vahith, who's hopefully going to edit this video for me, but I did take the time to, without looking at any stats, pick a quick 15 from guys who didn't make my initial 23. I've gone with Sutherland, Cherry, and Francis as the front row. I know Francis had heaps of tackles. Cherry looked really good. Our line-out was good and scored a couple of tries. And Sutherland scrummaging is very admirable. HOGG, despite the penalties conceded, is still a great line-out operator and still a great defensive operator. On another day, maybe he gets things a bit better. Willemse, despite that red card, also defensive powerhouse. Curry, I think, is the #1 dominant tackler in the competition, so you can't ignore him. Put him at 6. Tipperick, most tackles in the competition, put him at 7. CJ Stander, most carries in the competition, put him at 8. Price, maybe as a good operator at #9. People criticise him for being a bit slow, but when he's good, he gets some good try assists. Sexton, as I mentioned, had a good tournament, so I'll put him there. Vincent and Harris will be a useful midfield. Both those guys are unlucky not to be here as well. Monti Ioane, if you're looking for an Italian player, he was phenomenal. On a losing team, often spent the time on the bench as they got yellow card players to the forwards and he would have to get substituted, but when he was on fire, he was on fire. Keith Earls had a bloody good one for a guy who's, again, at the wrong end of the age spectrum. He still shows himself to be class. And Hugo Keenan, what a guy under the high ball. But there you go. There you go. Could have had Falatau. God, honourable mentions for a week. Anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts. As always, put your 15 in the comments. Guys you agree with, disagree with, and preferably why. But yeah, you guys take care, and I will talk to you again soon. See you later.